woman dies and her husband is pleased with her, she can enter any gates of paradise. That person said, in order to please your husband, you have to obey him in everything.
Okay, that's another example as to how we do not understand the meaning of these hadiths. We have to be very, 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 very careful, because a hadith, you may read one sentence that's part of an hour-long khutbah. That's why the prophet said you cannot teach yourself this religion. You have to learn from the people of knowledge who studied what the prophet said, who studied what he did, who knows the history of what he said, the history of what he did. Because another example, you may pick up Sahih Bukhari and you're going to find a hadith that says, if you knew what I knew, you would laugh little, and you will walk around saying it's haram to laugh. That is just one sentence of a 10-page hadith. The hadiths are not put together like that. They're not put together with the whole thing all in one. Okay? So that's the first thing we have to understand. You can't teach yourself this deen. Ask the people of knowledge. The second thing, the sister said, I was listening to your short, and where we have to obey our husband, what Allah has told us to obey, exactly. And we can't obey. I didn't say that. First of all, I did not say in my short that you cannot obey your husband by wearing a niqab. I didn't say that. That's not what I said, and that's not what Sheikh Morsi said either in his short. What we both said is this. The Prophet, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, told us in a beautiful hadith qudsi that Allah says, anyone who does a good deed to please me and anyone else, I have no need of it, because that's associating partners. And what I did say, and what we did say is this. The Prophet, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, said, Allah does not accept any good deed, any good deed, any good deed on this planet, unless it's done solely to please him. That's it. Whatever you do to please Allah, not your mother, not your father, not your husband, not your wife, not your children. We obey Allah and do what he says do, because he commanded it, and we please him. That's what we said. And by obeying Allah, in turn, not only will you earn the love of Allah, but as Allah says, when you obey me, I in turn will love you, and I will call Jibril to me. And I will tell Jibril to announce to all the other beings in the heavens that I love so-and-so. And then the angels of mercy will descend upon the earth and cause the people who should love you to love you too. So by obeying Allah, that will cause your husband to love you. So we don't do good deeds to please our husband. I don't pray to please my husband. I don't fast to please my husband. I don't wear niqab or hijab or jilbab to please my husband. I do this because Allah commands me to do it, and I do it to please him. That's what we said. And I just gave the dalil. Allah even says it in the Quran. Any deeds done to please anyone other than me is not accepted. That's what I said. And I said, your husband cannot make you do anything that Allah did not command you to do. Your husband cannot make you do anything that Allah did not command you to do. Because Allah says in the Quran, there is no obedience to the creation over me, the Creator. Again, our life as Muslims is supposed to center around Allah, not your man. Man is nothing. It's all about Allah. Okay, so that's the first part. Now, the second part, let me tell you about this hadith. This is a total different topic here. The hadith that you are speaking about, if you were to read the entire hadith, what happened was when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam migrated to Medina from Mecca, that's when Allah sent down the laws forbidding men from oppressing their wives. That's when Allah sent down the verses of the Quran saying that your wives have rights over you. You have to feed her when you feed yourself, clothe her. That's when all the rights, in fact, Surah Nur, that's when Surah Nur was revealed. Surah Nur speaks a lot about the rights of women. And as soon as Allah sent down those verses, giving the women rights, guess what the Arab women did? Because Arab women were warriors. They began to disrespect their husbands. Some of the women wouldn't even have sexual relations with their husbands. In fact, some of the women began to abuse their husbands physically. So Umar, radiallahu anhu, he went to the Prophet. He said, "O Prophet of Allah, Allah has sent down all these rights to women. So now our wives are not listening to us. Now our wives are abusing us." And that's when the Prophet got quiet. And he was quiet for a while. The people didn't know what was wrong with him. He was quiet because that's when Allah sent down the revelation saying, and you men have rights over women. You are to be obeyed unless you command your wife to do something that contradicts me. Oh, you women who believe, you cannot allow in your home anyone who your husband has not approved of. Oh, you women who believe, you cannot refuse the bed of your husbands. Oh, you women who believe, you are to guard in your husband's absence what he would have you guard. Those are the rights that a man has over his wife. That's when the Prophet said, and any of you women who obey in fulfilling your husband's rights, and should you die, and he is pleased with you, because you fulfilled these rights, then you will have paradise. So that's the hadith. That hadith does not mean that if my husband tells me to have anal sex with him, because it pleases him, I'm supposed to do it. That hadith has nothing to do with saying if my husband wants me to put a bag on my face and walk around like a cyclops, when Allah didn't make me no cyclops, but he wants me to be one, I have to obey him. Nope. That's why I'm telling you guys, you have to learn the history of Islam, sisters. You cannot allow these men to do this to you because you don't know your religion properly. Any woman who dies having fulfilled the rights of her husband. And what are the rights of the husband? Number one, you obey him in everything he commands you to do that is not in contradiction to Allah. That's his first right. Number two, you guard in his absence what he would have you to guard. That means his home, his property, his children, and yourself. Number three, you never refuse his bed. Those are the man's rights. And number four, you don't allow nobody in his house. Those are the rights that your husband have over you. And should you do that, and you die, know of Quran and Hadith who will tell you that I'm not telling you correctly. That's the meaning. So you got a different Hadith that has to do with something different. It speaks about the rights of the man, okay, as opposed to what I talked about here, which is the Hadith where the Prophet Muhammad, and also it's a verse in the Quran, we just went over it today in our class at 6, where Allah says, whatever we do, he will not accept no good deeds unless it's done for him. So why do you sisters wear hijab? You think I wear a hijab to please my mother? My father? Oh, heck no. Allah commanded me to do it. I'm pleasing my Lord. Why do you stay in your house, Layla? I do it because it's what my Lord commanded, not my mother, not my father, not no husband. Y'all understand? It's all about Allah, sisters. Don't get it twisted. Your husbands are not God. We do not worship our husbands. We worship Allah. And we obey them unless they tell us something wrong or they tell us something that I ain't got to do. Y'all understand that? Don't get it twisted. Know your deen.